having those big server installations from Microsoft.
Now, this is really awesome to look at because if this continues this way and we get these big havens of cities like Tokyo and such that are kind of tired of the way that the government's handling their money and move to this freer republic of currency, like cryptocurrency is giving them, then we can honestly see a huge boom in Wyoming being, we could get a lot more infrastructure in Wyoming because of the stuff that we need to build to continue what we have brought on in cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to answer that question that I asked Jade. Okay, how is this going to solve all of these issues?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna put cryptocurrency on a global scale as a world currency. Okay.
All right.
Don't know how we're gonna do this yet.
Oh, okay.
It's like economic
So you kind of want more of a centralized market
Yeah,
under one
hypothetical.
currency, so then everything's
Yeah.
a little easier to understand.
I completely do, and I think
Okay.
cryptocurrency is the way to do that.
All right. Now, before you go into that, you think that maybe there could be some unforeseen consequences, such as the stuff needed to mine this cryptocurrency being used in other stuff, making that other stuff harder to receive?
You know, I can see that there's gonna be issues with it, but I'm not also saying like to shut down
Yeah.
the current economies of the countries, but that it would be a lot easier to trade globally with these
Yeah.
types of currencies.
Yeah, you want to put this in over time. I understand.
Yeah, definitely. We're gonna put a lot of work into this to make it work.
Well, I have no knowledge of Malaysia whatsoever, so I decided to take a look at it, and well, I happened to notice it's right next to Singapore, actually, which gave me the idea, what about online pirates? You know, if we have a total economic reform over time, there will be a lot of room and a lot of money for online pirates, such as both white hat and black hat hackers, to take from. It is a entire world-sized stockpile of e-currency just waiting to be stolen.
I think to answer that is we're already kind of putting our money like online, so that's already kind of like that you can already do that.
And I feel the way that Bitcoin and stuff
Yeah.
is like setting up, and the fact that you have to mine for the currency when you buy it. I feel like that would be the best option for us in the moment.
Okay.
So do you guys think, like in the movies, instead of going to the bank and robbing it, it'll just be a bunch of people sitting on their laptops?
Okay.
That's just a ton of like World of Warcraft nerds.
Yeah.
They just get together in their mom's basement, and they're like, "All right, today we're gonna rob a bank."
I would say League of Legends, but then they'd also be overage.
Oh.
Oh,
I also heard of. I actually heard of Bitcoin helping in a South American country. I believe it was Venezuela, dude. Now this is all what I'm saying right now, completely unscripted. I am not reading off of anything. This
Off
is
the
from my
record.
head. There's no source. There's nothing. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I heard from Venezuela that some of the poorest people who are currently struggling economically are actually playing video games to earn Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin exclusively because they can actually use Bitcoin more than their official currency, as Bitcoin is more reliable than their currency right now.
I agree, and I feel like that's what's happening in tons of economies over the world.
Yeah.
We're seeing so much stuff happen because of like what has happened with our flipping economy and stuff. It's been getting like super high and then super low and then super high, and we all know that America is a huge, I guess like mirror look into the world economy. We're basically mirroring the world economy every day. And the way that we really need to look at this is every time we fluctuate, the ripples of effects into these smaller third world countries and their economies are huge. They're detrimental every day.
Yeah.
Boulder in a lake, you know, that splash will ripple onwards to even
Exactly.
the furthest of edges.
Okay.
Everybody feels what's going on in our economy, and because of that, we need to end the current state and the statue of our economy, and we need to build it up. And I honestly
Okay.
think that cryptocurrency is the most efficient way to do that.
All right. One more question I got. If we do go into cryptocurrency, would there be many different types of cryptocurrency that we would use, or would we just use one? Because if we do use one, wouldn't that mean that if that one fluctuates, then that one also gets...
Yes, yes. And that's
Okay.
why I think that we could do many different ones. We could do Bitcoin, we
Okay.
could do iCoin, we could do Dogecoin even. You know that little funky dog on the face of the coin?
Yeah.
that Elon
That's
mentioned,
awesome.
sitting there.
You know, we need to make that our currency worldwide. And we can see that this new haven that we're going to be building in all these tech havens and Wyoming, that we're going to rep enough that it's going to cause enough, I don't know how to put this, but it's going to be amazing for all these countries that are
suffer the
feeling
backlash.
that are suffering the backlash of a ton of Redditors buying stock in GameStop.
They saved GameStop, by the way.
Did
They
actually?
did save
Yeah,
GameStop.
Oh
it
my
was,
God.
on track
Okay.
to going bankrupt.
It's coming back.
No
Not
way.
anymore.
Okay.
That actually leads me to a couple of points I was thinking about. What do you think is going to happen to debt? You know, it's like even our government itself is like, what, several $1 trillion in debt, and now they're trying to stop that right now. But what are they trying to do? Yeah, they're trying to get vaccines over to other countries, and they need to pause our current debt to do that, which is honestly just going to make us have more debt. So after that debt ceiling unpauses, and it fluctuates even more, how difficult do you think it's going to be to get this economic refund?
I don't think that it's going to be difficult at all. Because the way that the world economy is looking currently, every country is in debt to another country.
That's true.
Oh, debt is no longer a thing where now I owe you money, but you owe me money and I owe you money at the same time. It cancels itself out. That's all but just an emotional, it's just a statement to get people to do things, okay? It's, I don't know how to put this, but it's just,
It's like guilt trip.
yeah.
Like, you owe me money.
Right, you owe me money, give me money,
Yeah.
and then I owe you money, so I'm gonna work my butt off to get you money too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it keeps the world going. And I think that currently, debt is just a thing. It's
Yeah.
a figment of our imagination because it doesn't really exist at the moment. Obviously, like on a personal level, like I
It's
can
an
be in debt.
abstract thing.
But
It's,
these huge countries are not in debt per se. They're in debt by law, but not actually to the point where it's an issue. And that's why I think that if we keep our personal economies and we create a global economy, it'll one help with the debt ceiling around everything, but it'll also make trading in interstate areas way better too.
Okay.
Okay, well, on to my second point. A solid topic of yours so far has been its influence on Wyoming. You know, with Colorado legalizing pot usage, their tax income has been huge, booming. Like, their city has grown exponentially, even larger than it already was because they legalized this pot usage. So, do you think that after we become, you know, like a world central unit for this e-currency, how greatly do you think that will impact Wyoming? Like, how will our economy boost? What will happen to our city?
I think that we will be the world capital.
World capital.
World capital.
Yup. Obviously, like that's not true. We're not gonna be forcing this upon any other country, but I think that we're gonna have a big boost in our economy, like at a local level.
Yes.
But we're also gonna have a big boost in our infrastructure.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a ton of new buildings being built to sustain this entire global direction that's gonna be causing cryptocurrency. I also believe that it's gonna cause a ton of jobs. People are starting to start moving here.
Oh,
We're gonna
yeah.
start getting a ton of stuff.
Okay.
And it's going to be a big boom in Wyoming, and we're not going to be this little square in the middle of America that nobody thinks exists, and we're going to be this little square in the middle of America that nobody thinks exists with a ton of people in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like, you know, even, it's sad that this probably might not happen because, you know, Wyoming is a large, open area. There is so much space to just go and do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And how do I put this? You know when you drive for like 8 minutes out of the edge of town and how many wind turbines you see? Like the amount of energy that we produce. We have one of the largest gas refineries in the country. And with all of this ability to power both ourselves and others, if we had this technological boost in our society with all of this power to support it, it almost seems perfect.
Yeah. And with the factor that we've got so much open land, and you can even technically squeeze them in with the wind turbines. So you
Yeah.
can have wind turbines and solar panels, which create so much electricity, Wyoming could become a giant technological hub.
A
Elite.
social battery.
Yeah. So they
The
could
batteries
fuel
of the
states
world.
around us.
Wyoming.
That's a nice slogan.
Okay.
That's a nice
Um,
That
slogan.
is, yeah.
Let's go ahead and summarize like everything we've done here today, because we also got to do that to get that thing.
That's true.
All right, who wants to go first?
I think we
'Cause-
should go in the order that we went.
Okay,
Alright.
go ahead, Marcus.
So the Uyghurs are being basically just tortured and put into concentration camps. They're not exactly doing anything specifically that's their fault. It's terrorism and activists that are talking out there. And
Okay.
it is affecting the entirety of the Uyghurs.
Okay.
Hong Kong on Hong Kong Island is in a state of, well, almost flattened struggle, as they have, well, as I have seen so far from these sites, failed to separate themselves from China, even after all these protests and these arrests and all of these reforms to their structure. Everything has come to a almost scary halt, because what was once yelling in the streets is now dust on your windshield.
All right. I've got to say, Hong Kong, almost a century of military power. They almost got to the brink of joy, the brink of happiness, the brink of what they ever wanted, and immediately plummeted into worse than what they were before. It was a very sad story, but the coup d'etat, kind of broke them.
And then obviously we just finished up the cryptocurrency, where we were talking about how we're going to make it the world currency and how we're going to make Wyoming the batteries of the world. So you've been listening to.
Finna get wacky.
Thanks for
Jaden.
watching.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
and of course, thanks to our special
Yeah,
guest.
Yeah, thanks
having
for
me, guys.
special guest
Yeah.
Jaden.
For